Okay, so I've already taken the top off when it was on the tractor, so the disassembly of that won't be included in this video. However, it is fairly simple. You got two acorn nuts that go from bolts that right here attached and go up through the cover. The cover has your throttle and your shut-off, your fuel shut-off. And so you take those two acorn nuts off, the cover comes off, and then there's a governor here, and it's got 3 holes in it. And in the top inside of the cover, there's a lever for your throttle. It has 3 holes. And so you want to be careful when you disassemble this and note which hole that spring is on both the lever for the throttle and the governor plate. Also, when you go to remove the spring from the governor plate, there's a pin that goes through, and there's a little spring. That spring is really fine. It's easy to lose, and it's easy to damage, and you don't want to do that. So when you disassemble that spring from that governor plate, you want to hold in that pin, and then you take a pair of needle nose, and you can carefully take that spring out of the pin and then release the pin and take it out. Make sure you don't lose it, because they're very hard to get. So that pretty much catches us up. I did take this banjo bolt out. It allows fluid to come out, and got 2 copper washers, and it goes to an overfill line. So I took that out, and then it had the safety tie wire that keeps this nut and these bolts from loosening up. So you just snip that off, and I just set it over here. I'll take a photo of all this disassembly. So I've already cracked these loose, and then I realized I needed to do the video. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. This is a internal pump relief. So your fuel comes in here, it fills all this up, diesel. If it was to ever build up too much pressure, this overflow from this banjo and this overflow here, this goes back to your filter. This banjo goes up and connects to another area of the engine. These are 5/16. This banjo bolt was 12 millimeter. Now we're going to take this bypass overflow off. Take this rubber diaphragm off of here. I rebuilt this pump about 1.5 to 2 years ago, and I bought the tractor really cheap. It's got a front end loader. I mean, it's super heavy duty, 48 horse, 3-cylinder diesel, and I was really pleased with it, but it wasn't running. So I tore into this pump about 1.5 to 2 years ago, and the high pressure pistons that are located in line with these exhaust ports that go to the injectors, inside there, several layers deep, are the 2 pistons, and they were stuck on the inside. What's supposed to happen is the vane pump that's right here shoots pressure diesel in between those and kind of forces them out, and then they push against rollers that go around in a cam. I'll show all this to you later. But as the engine turns, that rotates around, and this is constantly putting pressure into the center of those high pressure pistons. So as it rotates around, when the pistons go out, the fluid goes in. As it rotates a little further, it closes off that port. And then as it rotates even further, the cam forces those rollers in, which pushes those pistons in, and then it shoots high pressure diesel out whichever port it's on here. When it connects, it shoots it out and it goes up and shoots through the pressurized spring-loaded injector for that cylinder for that proper timing, and your motor runs. And it does that for all 3 cylinders, or 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, whatever size tractor configuration you have. That's how these Lucas CAV diesel injection pumps work. So, like I said, those pistons were stuck in, so I had to disassemble this completely because I had no clue. That was really my first diesel I've ever had, and at least the first one I've ever had to work on. And it took a while. It probably took 30-40 minutes. My brother-in-law was able to get them unstuck and get them out. And so we took a little crocus cloth or green Scotch Brite pad, and we cleaned the heck out of those little pistons and cleaned the bores up. Got a brass, like a AR-15 or 223 brass brush, chamber brush, and swapped the bores and got them all cleaned up to where they would just, you could just do this and they would fall back and forth. And that's how they should operate. Once we got all that cleaned up, there was nothing else wrong with it. Put it all back together, and this tractor has run excellent for the past 1.5 to 2 years. And I think what happened was, and we'll know because I'm going to tear into it, I think the pistons got stuck in again, either from using street diesel, because I wasn't using red diesel, and also I think petroleum industry has changed the formulation for diesel, period. Whether it be street diesel or red diesel, it all is, according to the fuel injection specialist that I just talked to today and got the kit to rebuild this, he believes that all diesel the formulation has changed from when they first developed these injection pumps back in, I'm going to say, late 40s. Okay, so this bleed is a 5/16. It's the center bolt. And you'll notice on the end of it, it has a little round, almost like a bleed screw on a brake, that you can, when you tighten it up, it seals around there and closes that off. That particular screw has a flat edge. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's flat right there. Okay, you got a little copper washer here that went underneath that. Now some kits will have fiber washers, some will have steel washers, and some may have copper washers. This day and age, I'm saying that there probably won't be very many with the copper in them, because copper is just getting outrageous. in the background is the train, coupling or uncoupling. I actually have a teardown bench, but I'm not using it yet. This is a 1/2 inch. Cap. And this is your, right in here is the part that the rollers run on and the internal high pressure pistons go in and out on. As they go around, this is the cam, and this is the cam pin that allows it to be advanced or retarded depending on how they set this up at the factory to run. These caps are 9/16 on my unit. Lay down. Now you want to note, take photos. You want to note which one of these go in their correct position. They are interchangeable, and you could, if you don't pay attention, put them in the wrong spot. See, this slides back and forth. This is what adjusts your cam. This is your timing, advance, or you want to make sure that's freed up too. Some of these units, if they get water in the gas or water in the diesel tank, you got a lot of problems in, because every piece of metal in here will be rusty, and all your diesel will be rusty colored. This is a steel washer. This is what came in the kit the last time I rebuilt this pump. Alright, so we got one more bolt here. So you actually have, this is what your housing for your pump is. The actual vane pump is here, and the actual high pressure pump is it's either in line with this, or it's in line with this cam. Either way, it's in this housing, and then deeper within this housing is the high pressure pump. Alright, so we're going to take off these next. These are 5/16. Now, before you take all four of these out, you need to get this off, because inside here you have several springs, you've got some plungers, and you've got a filter, and it's just easier to get this off now when you got some here to hold, as opposed to having to put this in a vise and do it later. So I'm going to do that now. So this first nut is a 3/4 inch. As you can tell by the squeaking, it had an O-ring underneath of it to seal. Okay, this nut is a 24 millimeter. Kind of goes crazy there. these are 5/16 bolts. Now before we go knocking that off of there, well, there's no before that. Alright, so this is the end of the pump housing for the low pressure side. You got a little locator pin here, roll pin, so that means it only goes in one way. And of course this is going to go up because that's where your fuel is coming into. Now we've got several things in here, and we'll try to take them out in order, because alright. So you've got, make sure I've got this on camera. Okay, first thing to come out of the fuel inlet is going to be this large spring. And then you've got this little plunger, and it's a spring-loaded plunger as well. And it fits down in there. So it goes just like this when it's sitting in the housing. So you got a large spring, you got a plunger, you got a small spring, and then it has a little flat disc in it, and that flat disc goes down. And then you got your fuel strainer, and like I said, I just did this about 1.5 years ago, but you can still see the crud that's in there. And there's a lot of crud here too. Some of that even looks like metal. That's not a good indicator there. Okay, you got a little plastic washer, fiber washer on the bottom here. And I believe this little plunger should be free. This little plunger should be free, and it floats back and forth as the fuel pressure rises and lowers and all that. So this fits in here, and it goes should go, unless it's it goes all the way through, but it's not very free. So it goes in there like that, underneath the filter, screen filter, and then this goes inside the bore. Now, there's another little thing down in here. You got actually two little springs now. Or no, it's one. It's one special little spring. It's large diameter, but then the center of it on the ends is a small diameter. That's so that it can support this little plunger up in here. And this goes down in the bottom. And so now it's completely empty. All these little parts fit in here. Okay, so now we are in the low pressure side of this housing. These are rotary vanes, and as this off-centered center rotates around, these vanes slide back and forth. Now you want to be careful with these, because they are brittle, and if you break them, you buy them. One vane here. And there's your eccentric, and the other vane here. If these are cracked or broken, you'll have to replace them. Now, just so you know, this cutaway, and this is keyed, by the way, so it only goes in one way, and it's held in place by a pin. And so this goes in, and this word CAV is on the outside. You should be able to read this when this is installed. And this is a cutaway here so that fluid can either go in or get pumped out. Okay. There's a rubber seal right here. That's a 1/2 inch. That bolt is one of 3 that holds in the pump body. And it will also have a copper sealing washer. And when you buy your kit, it's going to come with all of those sealing washers that you're going to need. Okay, so I got the pump with a piece of wood on the mating surface in the vise. Got a pair of channel locks here. You want to watch out for any serial numbers that's on your pump, and just get a good firm grip on it, and you should be able to just start moving it out. And it's got a rubber O-ring right here. As soon as that clears, it's going to leak a little bit. So if you afraid to get stuff on your floor, go ahead and put a pan under there. Once you get it broke loose, then what you can do is you can just slowly, gently, remember these are very, very finely machined parts, and just very gently go ahead and take that apart. It's keyed. It's got teeth all the way around except for one. One tooth is missing, so you can only put it in one way. There's an Allen head bolt in here that attaches this part where the drive gear is, that's actually part of the engine. The crankshaft would be down here, and through gearing it attaches to here. This is keyed one way, can't get it wrong, to that gear. That's what keeps the pump in time with the pistons so that the engine runs properly and is timed properly, just like a gas motor uses a distributor. So this is basically a distributor and a fuel pump all in one. So we are going to get an Allen wrench and take that out. 5/16 Allen key. Use the 3 bolts that was on here to bolt it to the gear. Just use 2 of them and put them in here. Put them in there pretty good because you want a good solid place to brace off of. Ideally, you would want a brace actually cut with a hole in the center so that you could bolt this on there. Fortunately, this worked. Okay, so okay, so here's the housing. The seal is out. The rubber O-ring is out. The flywheel is loose in there. This is where that drive hub that rides on the seal screws into and is splined to the flywheel. The pump is then keyed to the back end of the flywheel. So that's all you got to disassemble on the housing, unless you have a problem with the fly weights. Make sure you bag your gear attachment that goes on the front and splines into the front of the flywheel, because this is also where this seal rides, and you can see where it's shiny right here. That's where the seal rides, so you want to make sure that that's not got any groove in it. Make sure you bag this because you got the bolt, the spring, and the washer in there that could fall out. This is where your ports are that go to the injectors. This is where your vane pump is for your low pressure. And in here, you've got those 2 pistons that low pressure from the vane pump comes in and supplies them with diesel, and then as it rotates around those pistons in there, pump the high pressure. Alright, so we got to find where our mark is here. So it looks like we've got a mark here, and it's on this first digit right there. Okay, this is going to be really hard for you to see on there, I think. But hard for me to see too. So basically you got one mark here that lines up with this groove on the pump area. Okay? And it's identified by a letter A, capital A. If you rotate on around, you got another mark here, but it doesn't line up to anything. Another mark here doesn't line up to anything. Another mark here, no alignment. Here's one that doesn't align. Another one that doesn't align. There's another one that doesn't align. Here's another one that doesn't align. So basically you got one here that aligns right there. And it's the capital letter A. So you're going to need either a 12-point socket for these, or you can use a spline drive 12-point. Either way, and that with an impact, get a good grip on that with your channel locks, protect it well with a nice piece of cloth, and you won't have any damage to it. This is the heart of the injector pump. So what you want to do there's a plate right here, separate from this, and separate from this. This plate is an eccentric, so it allows either more travel or less travel of those rollers, and therefore limits the amount of fuel that each compression will actually squirt to that cylinder's injectors. And so that's what you don't want to mess with. You want that to go back exactly the way it was when it was running prior to you taking it apart. So we're going to make sure that this A mark stays right here on this edge of this cutaway. So we take these two bolts out. And that lifts off. Okay? This is that plate I was telling you about. You can adjust this back and forth, and it changes the amount of flow that these rollers produce, allow this thing to produce in each pump. And you'll notice it has a letter B right there. Okay. So before you take this apart, it's actually got two sets of pistons. You got a set here that go back and forth this way, and you got a set here that go back and forth this way, right inside this body. I don't know, but I'm just assuming, and it's a safe assumption, this set of rollers one and is lapped to it, just as this one is lapped to this one, and so on and so forth. So you don't want to take this one out and then later put it here or put it over here, because it could screw it up. So what you want to do is you want to find an identifying mark. Okay? The only identifying mark I can find is right here. It's like a little cutaway. And then you want to draw you a little picture. Or better yet, well, you want to draw a little picture. Is what you want is all those identified, and you'll want to lay them out so that they do not get messed with. And you're going to need some more bags. So here's what you got. We're going to draw this out. So we got, I'm going to say that's 12 and 6, and that's like 4 and 10. Okay? So we draw a little circle and put a notch right here. Okay, and then you got a roller cam here. You got a roller cam here. And you got a roller cam here. And a roller cam here. Okay? So we're going to call this one 12 and 6, and this is 4 and 10. Now, we can identify them and bag them appropriately. So we're going to put 12, 4, 6, and 10. First on the chopping block,
It's going to be number 12. One more thing you want to do here. You don't want to accidentally put it in upside down. You want to mark these so that they're black on top. They look identical from one side to the other. However, you see there is some wear right here, and so it should go in one direction. And so you can mark that. So it's got two little notches. Okay, number 4. Same thing. Notches over here. Next one will be number 6. Same thing, little notches over there. Same thing. Get the two little notches over here. Well, they do move. That one's stuck. Okay. Alright, so what we got here is we got this set of pump pistons are working. Okay. This set, however, is not. So that's exactly what I thought this thing was doing. It's half better than what it was when I first bought the tractor, but it's still not 100%, so it's not running, and that's why. These are nice and clean. Okay, so let's put this back to where I had it. Okay, this is 12, 4, 6, 10. So what we got here this was the piston out of here for number 10. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to we'll put those pistons in each of those bags that they come out of. So number 10 is this one. And if you look at it, they're identically the same. So I don't think on these it matters which direction they go in. Okay, so that's number 10. Okay. So 12, 4. So this would be number 4. It's just a little gritty in there. It's not like totally clean. Oh, it's really, I have a hard time getting out of there. So, yeah, there's some, I think it's the, I don't see no difference in it at all. So this is number 4. The 12 and the 6. Oh, now they're working. They're the short ones. Okay, so this is the 12. That's the 12. So 12 is a short one. Or no. 12 is a short one. And 6 is a short one. So they weren't like stuck. So would it have worked after I took the cap off and put a bunch of seafoam in there? It's possible. But if you're wanting to be certain, because the only way to be certain is take it apart, clean it up, and do all that. Now, there's 2 bolts right here and here that are, you have to take this piece out, which is like a fiber washer. You have to take that out in order to separate this part of the pump from this part of the pump. And those are the 2 bolts that hold it together. There's no need to do that. There's nothing in there, no seals, no gaskets, no nothing that you need to be dealing with. So once you get it down this far, you're done. You just have to make certain that you keep this right here as your identifying alignment. If you were to take these 2 screws out, chances are you're going to get it screwed up, because with this still attached to that, your timing is still intact. All you have to do is line up those plates there on the top and you'll be good. So the best thing that I found out from the fuel injection people is on any of your diesel tractors, your diesel equipment, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea on your trucks, to go ahead and use some kind of lubrication in the fuel. And that's going to keep these pistons, especially on your older tractors that have the old type injection pumps, you need to put an additive in there so that you have the lubrication to keep everything moving the way it's supposed to. So now you know you had a long piston on 4, long piston on 10, short one on 12, and a short one on 6. You know where your notch is on your plate. You've got them all separated and identified, and you've got the tops identified. You can't screw it up. You just need to wash it up, clean it up, lube it, put it back together. So that concludes the teardown.